The only goal that I have for GTA 5 right now is to unlock the Acid Lab. So I went ahead to look for Dax on the map and stole a car. But then I realized that the car that I had just stolen kind of resembled a Corolla. And I don't like Corollas, which is why I got inside of my Corvette. I had never driven this vehicle before, so I wanted to keep it in tip-top condition. But then another player just decided to drive on top of me. Now the mission that I had to accomplish first was to steal a truck cab. I got into the Pisswasser, assuming that this was what they meant, and no, it was not what they wanted. So I just drove around a little bit and got into an actual truck cab. I was then ordered to collect some party supplies, hooked it right up, left the compound, and ran through some people that were unfortunately in my way. Little did I know though that the enemy had indestructible motorcycles, which they used to blow up my party supplies. And Dax, of course, was not happy about this. So he sent me into an MC clubhouse where I was ordered to destroy everything on sight. Upon entering the clubhouse, I was jump scared by this guy in the bed. I then had to take a picture of the plans, which I sent to Dax, got a bag that I found on the table, and stole some objects which I assumed were books for the local library. Then I fought my way outside, got back into the cab, ran a few more people over, and went all the way back to the freak shop. Upon arriving, I was paid 15k. Then I found this very strange looking vehicle outside, which I didn't really know this at the time, but it could deploy mines. After this slight interruption in the mission process, I went ahead and started another one, got 3 people into my lobby, and one of them was unfortunately AFK. I was extremely disappointed at this, so I just started driving along to the next checkpoint, and I was actually enjoying the ride. It was somewhat peaceful until my teammate decided to show me a trick of his and hit my car with this old, dirty, goofy looking 4-wheeler. I was not feeling good about this mission. And yeah, just as expected, he died in the first 2 seconds. We had no more team lives left, so the only option I had was to carry. It was then at this moment that I got pinned down by a huge amount of bullets, and I thought to myself, how am I gonna get out of the situation? What's my next move? And I got shot in the head. I was then left to spectate the AFK teammate, at which point I decided my best option was to quit. Then I realized that the game had spawned me all the way back at the place where I died. So I had to steal another car, go all the way back to Dax, which was like around 3 miles long. I eventually did arrive to the mission and went ahead and started it all over again. But this time by myself, just for safety precautions. The second that I arrived at the Lost's property, I destroyed everything in sight. Like I exploded their tanks, their motorcycles, and a few people too. It was honestly a pretty satisfying experience. Just when I thought that things were finally starting to go well for me, this guy just popped out of nowhere and almost took away all of my health. So of course I retaliated and ran someone over. Feeling pretty cool at this point, I did a full 360 on a motorcycle. Honestly, it was pretty awesome and I was in a good mood. I just had to get to the next checkpoint, which was Millary's Fishery. There were some enemy motorcycles in the way. Took care of them, no problem. Once I arrived, I was instructed to look for some missing books and accidentally crippled a man. The fishery itself was fully infiltrated by bad guys, which I had to clear out. And on top of that, I had to look for the missing items, but at this point, I just died. I also then realized that I had 0 lives left, so living was of the utmost importance. And exactly as that thought processed through my mind, I got shot in the back. And it happened again. I was feeling pretty defeated at this point, but then I found this blue marker, which allowed me to enter a lab, which then allowed me to take care of the people inside, and I did eventually find the 2 final items that I needed. Next step was steal the dodo. Now, before you see this footage, let me just tell you that my flying experience in GTA 5 is not that great. I hadn't really, set my right keybinds for this. I couldn't actually rotate my plane left and right, so I decided to make one final measly attempt, and it failed horribly. I changed my keybind shortly after this, got back into the dodo, and I could finally fly the damn airplane. I didn't really know if I would be able to do this on the first attempt, but it happened anyways. I then decided that it was the perfect time to reload up on ammo, buy a few new guns, and buy my favorite apple juice at the store. Deciding that I needed a break at this point, I went ahead and visited the local casino and won RP. So out of frustration, I got back into my vehicle and killed a snowman in cold blood. After doing that, I went ahead and did the final mission of the day, which was honestly one of the weirdest missions I've ever done. Dax just randomly shows up out of nowhere, yells badonk badonk, and gets his back fixed. He then offers me some nice apple juice, which I of course accept, and all of a sudden I now feel dizzy. I don't know, something about the flying fish, the giant Bigfoot in front of the screen, and all the bunnies running around him made all this seem a little bit too suspicious. It was at this moment that one one of my teammates decided to have an aneurysm. And I couldn't blame him. There were a bunch of blue things on the screen. I suddenly turned into a bright orange man. And this rabbit hole, which just had a bunch of spirals, was the worst thing I had ever seen. To add further to the confusion, I suddenly became a bunny rabbit. I also fell from the sky, but survived because I'm simply built different. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the sound of success.